from a view you can define a model. Second will be you can define a model in the component JS, right? Yes. Third one is from manifest. And fourth one is from any external file. Fifth one is from models or application. Now, just tell me from five of these options, have you any doubt in any of this? Just tell me whether you have doubt anywhere, and we will cover it or we will move ahead.
Can you cover the manifest JSON and model.json?
Okay. Anyone else having any problem anywhere or just this two? Yeah, just this two.
Component.json, we have to use like when we want to use global model
Yeah,
is
see, leaving this one, okay, leaving this one, all these three you can use globally, like all these four, you can use globally. Okay, just this one will be available to a single view. How we will see? See, in the component.js, here we have declared a file, right? So this component holds all the views. Okay, so if you declare a file or a model like this in the component, it will be available everywhere. Okay, fine. Now, second is the manifest. So in the manifest, what happens now? When we declare a model like this, we have declared a model, company data, right? So the process that we have like discussed before also, what happens? Component when the component file renders, it checks the manifest for all the configuration. So suppose if you have mentioned a model here, it will automatically get loaded in the manifest, and this same process will be like handled again. So automatically you can say that the whole model will be available globally, right? Because it is getting declared like similarly like this prompt, but it is just the name it is taking from the manifest JSON. After this, this same process is happening. So that's why you can say that it is available globally. And the process is like this. You can just declare company data like this. Okay. Now again, suppose I have this employee JSON here. Okay. Employee JSON here. I again want to use it. Now, what you can do, like what Rudranil has done, that you can go to this V1 controller. You might call the JSON model here. Okay, you will get the function if you research, you will get the data here, and then you can use it. But that is not the preferred way, I will say. If you have declared a employee.json here, similarly, what you can do in a manifest.json, you can import it. And after that, the same process will happen. It will get called by the component.js and it will be fixed globally. So here, what is the difference? That here you have to give the URI. Okay. So what is the URI? You have given the model like the folder name. This is the folder name. And after that, the file name. So the data will get loaded from here and it will be available globally. Right? So these two are clear. Now for this model.json, I will just give you an example. So what you can do, like you guys can do, see here, this is already a function written. So what this function is doing now, it is creating a model, okay, and after that it is returning it. Where it is getting returned in the component.js, you can see that here there is a function. This dot set model, models dot create device, device. This line is written here, right? So what is happening here? You can see that we have imported our model like folder here at the top, and from there it is calling this function that is available here. Create device model, return model. This is the function name, create device model. And that same function it is using here like this and setting the model. So similarly, what you have to do, you guys have to create a model. Suppose like this, you created a model with OData or any variable. Okay. After that, you created a variable. Sorry, you created a variable like this OData. After that, you created a model. Okay. And after that, you just have to return this model using a function. Like similarly, like this function. After creating the model, you have to return it. Right. After returning this similar code that I have done here, I've commented it right now. You can use it and it will be globally available. This is the process that you have to guys have to follow. You will be able to do it, or should
Yes.
I show it? Okay. Okay, so for this, you guys will do it. Next, let's cover bindings. So guys have done the binding, like for the input field, for the table, you guys have done the binding. Do you guys try to find out like what are the types of binding or something? Or is there any difference between the table binding and input binding? Okay, so we'll see here. See, I will remove this button or let it be. Do you guys know how to like import your code in GitHub or something? Do you guys know?
What's the question? Can you repeat?
Upload your file in GitHub, like backup your code in the GitHub.
Okay. Git push.
Git push. So the same thing you can do it here. Try to like do it on your own. But if you are not able to, then we will cover it in a class. Okay, just try to do it, and if possible, try to make a like GitHub with your Mementic ID, itself, right? And after that, try to push this code there. And if you are if you are able to do it, share me the GitHub ID. Okay. So now we will learn the types of binding. Types of binding. Now there are basically three types of binding. Huh? First is the property binding. Second is the aggregate binding. And third one is the element binding. Okay. So I guess you guys have done this too. Can you differentiate like what are this by names? Can you differentiate or give me an example? What may be the kind of property binding and what may be the kind of aggregation binding? So I will do it. So this is my input field. Okay. Now in my controller, I have this model. Okay. The name is employee model. Now I want it to be binded with the name. Okay, name property. Just one of you guys just instruct me. How can I do it? Just one of you guys. The name of the model is employee model, and I have to bind it with the name property. Just one of you guys.
Double
You
quotation.
guys have done. Yeah.
Okay. In the curly brackets,
Yeah.
employee model.
Okay. After this.
And arrow mark.
Okay. After
And
this.
slash name.
Yeah.
Name.
Let's see. Yeah. So it is binded. Okay. So this is an example of property binding, and the definition of it you can say is that it is getting binded to a particular property, like a single property, right? It's getting binded to a single property. So that's why it is known as property binding. Single property is getting binded. Now you will able to differentiate the second one. Uh, Take an example of element binding. Sorry, aggregation binding. I'll go here. Yes. Okay. Now this is my list. You guys have also binded a list or a table. The process is similar. Any of you guide me. Suppose you can again see that my function name is employee model, and this is my array. Just anyone if you guide me. You have done it. And I have to bind the title property with something in that array. Come on, guys, you have done it.
In the item.
Let anyone else try if you have done it.
Okay.
Anyone else? Rudalil, Dipankar, Koel.
So in the items like employee model,
Okay. See,
greater than slash,
this is this is not good. Yeah. After this,
greater than
greater than
slash,
slash. Yeah.
and then the whole employee structure.
Okay. Now in the title, what should I do?
The title, like employee and greater than, and then employee who is
Which property, right? Whatever property I
yes.
need. Right. Thanks. Okay. This is a known property. Yeah. So I got the name. So this is an example of aggregation binding. So what is the difference is that here you can say that a single property has been binded. Okay, so that's why it is the property binding. But here you can see that array kind of property is binding and it is looping through the whole data that is available. Okay, so that is what's the meaning of aggregation binding. That you binded an element, like you binded something with an array kind of property and it is itself looping through all the data and giving you the result. And one more thing, you can see that here it is employee, like you have given the reference, right? So you don't have to give this here again. It is like by itself taking the reference. That inside employee, I have to take the name. Okay. Suppose there is some property that is deeper in this something, something that is deeper here, like some address. Okay. And there might be city or something like a deeper structure. Then you have to go deeper into the like object. Okay. So in that case, this will change. You have to add like address after that the city property or something. So this figure it out, like try it by yourself. It is not that hard. Okay, fine. So this is an example of aggregation binding. Now third comes the element binding. Now this one again you guys have to figure it out because these are not very hard topics. In element binding, what happens? There is a container. Okay. And inside the container, you have binded the container with a property name. Okay. Like suppose what happens that take for example there is a VBox. Okay. Inside the VBox, there are two text fields. So what you will do, you will bind this particular VBox. Okay. I guess there is binding property or something in VBox. There is this binding context, a binding property. What you guys have to do, you have to bind this VBox, like any container it can be, with this employee model. And if you binded this VBox with employee model, the text that is containing or the child elements that are inside this VBox, you don't have to use this whole path. You can just use it like this, just slash name. So this is a kind of element binding where the child element takes reference from the parent container and holds the data. So this element binding, please try yourself. Uh, okay, now is there any confusion on these topics, this binding types?
Can you explain the aggregation binding?
Okay, in aggregation binding, what happens now? Suppose kind of list. There are some controls like list, tables, and combo boxes. Those take an array of data or a list kind of structure. Okay. So in those cases, what happens? We bind the the header, you can say, with the top of the array name, and the rest the child elements. They contain this what can I say? This reference. Okay. Like suppose what you have done the list, you have binded with employee model employee. Here in the controller, you can see that this is my model name and this is employee, my array name. Okay. After this, in the list child elements, like whatever is present there, like suppose its title, there might be something else. Suppose like description only. So here you can say that I don't have to provide the whole path, right? This employee model, employee role, I don't have to give this because it is taking from it. I just have to give the model name and then the last property name that is a property name that is available. Okay, this is the property name. I'm using it. Now, the second thing I said that suppose there is a complex object present here. Like suppose this address, it is present here. The address is city, okay, and might be some other properties. In that case, what you have to do, you have to go deeper into the model, right? So for that, here it will change, the reference will change. Might be address, and after that slash city or something like this. So the answer is already given. Like this slash city you have to provide. So you have to go deeper into the model. In that case, it will take a reference till here. The till employee, it will take the reference, but after that, the whole path you have to mention. Okay. So try to use develop. You can develop different kinds of model. Like suppose inside this array, you have given another array. Okay. So how you can bind the list to that data? Try to figure out these things because then the topics will be clear that how this binding works. Is it clear, Koel, or you have some doubt left? Okay. So this cases of bindings are done. There are again some cases that to which we can like case our or we can define our bindings, like types of types of binding. Now the other types of binding are one-way binding and two-way binding. Now just tell me by seeing the names, what can you guys figure it out one by one-way binding and two-way binding? Just by names only. Okay, let's see. So in one-way binding, what happens? That data flows from model directly to view. Okay, like data flow from model to the view or controls, you can say. In two-way binding, what happens? Data flow from model to the view and from view to model itself, like back also. Like suppose what happens that, for example, you types when you binded a input field with a model and the page just loaded, you can see the data. Like suppose uh, what is it? Error state is not defined. Yeah. So for take this an example, okay. Here you can see that the data it is present here. Okay, and if I suppose type something, suppose I type here Rudranil, then just say me one thing that this data will change in the model or not. Uh, ch
No,
change the it will not change.
I think.
It will change. Like it will change. You guys have seen, like what happened that just let's just check it. I will give a button there. Suppose this is my button and press save. Open it controller. There, I will just comment it out. Specification, I will write. Yeah, so now I have to get this model, right? And one thing, guys, one thing I forgot to tell you that right now you are using IDs to get the data from an input field or something, right? But like that is not the right practice. I like showed you that way because we have not learned model by then, but right now you have learned model, right? So whatever, like whenever you try to get data from any input field or anywhere, right? Or suppose an input field combo box, try to use the models. Like it is directly binded with that model, right? You know how to get the data from that model. So try to use a model because ID it is not the preferred way. Because like I said now that you have given this ID it to here, but when you deploy the code, right, to the launchpad or suppose if you similarly like inspect it here, you can see that many different IDs or something are provided to the dev element. So in like production scenarios or like any unforeseen situation, it might break. ID might change or something, and your code might get some error or face some issue. So always try to use the model, like bind it to a model and try to get the data from the model. That is the best practice. So here I will get the data from the model itself. So on save press, what I will do, like suppose let a model is not get view dot employee model. Okay. Now I have to get the data. So like this, I can just get this way. I can get my data, right? Now let's just inspect it once and see if my data is changing when I use this model. This is my function. I will just save. So this is my model. And this, you can see that the data is changed, right? So right now you can see that when I change the data flowed back from the view to the model itself. So it is a kind of two-way binding. In two-way binding, what happens that if you change something in the view, in input control or any other control, the same thing will reflect in the model itself. So that is a kind of two-way binding. Okay. Now, suppose I want to make it a one-way binding. So what can I do? I think I will remember function that. So, yeah. This is the function that we can use it. Like set default binding mode one way. If you use it, your model will get converted to a one-way model. Now what will happen? If I change this to runner and press save, you can see the data has not changed. So it blocked like the data flowing from the view to the model. So this is like to another kinds in which or types in which we can define the models. That is one-way binding and two-way binding. Now, what can be the use cases of this? Suppose in one-way binding, you want some data that the user can't change or they can't interfere with it. In that kind of situation, we use the view model, or like one-way model. One example that you can see is provided here itself, now, as in the component.js. There is this device model. This device model, we try to get the data for the device the user is using. If you get this device model, you will get the whole data, like what kind of browser he is using, what is his desktop like application, what can I say, device. It is a desktop device, it is a phone device, it is a tablet, whole data we get. But we don't want user to interfere with this data because that is particularly the some kind of metadata. We don't want user to change it. So that's why in this case we use one-way model. Okay. Is this point clear? Like this one-way and two-way models? Is there any confusion?
It's okay.
Okay. And the last kind of model that we have to learn. Okay. That is this I18 and properties. It is, you can say, kind of resource model. Okay. And it is also one-way model. The user can't change this property whenever we use it. So it is a kind of resource model. Now, why the name is I18N? So the I after that 18 letters, it stands for internationalization. I just type it here. I guess this is only the spelling. Internationalization. Yeah. So I after that 18 letters after that N. So that's the meaning of why it is known as I18N. Now, I guess I've said you why we use this file, right? Can you just recap it once why this file is being used?
Language,
Yeah, once again.
language,
Yeah, language. So depending upon the language, we can use this file. Like suppose this same message we want to like this app is getting used in some French country or something, a French customer is using it. Then we can't, and we have given this hard coded text. Okay, like you can see that we have used hard coded text here. This this save we have used hard coded text. Function name can be similar because they are not seen to the user or anything else. It is hard coded, so that is not the best practice. And from today, you guys should try to everything the text that is present, the user text that is available in the UI, it should be either binded to a model or or it should be like present in this I18 file. Okay. Now you guys can see that in my case, it is binded with this welcome. Okay. Now, just to give it an example of how it works, mm, let me create a new file. Now I have the welcome there, right? See. Is this welcome? Search word. Now, usually what SAP UI5 does now from the manifest is check our preferred language or from its own server. It's also check its preferred language. Because in language it is present. Uh, yeah, I guess from this HTML or from manifest, it's check its like language, preferred language that is available. In case of Launchpad, it just directly gets the region it is being hosted in. So then after that, it like prefers or uses this file extension to get the data. Suppose I just want to use the this, I could change the URL. I this I can put it. Yeah. Oh, it won't work. Right. Okay, guys, I think there's some issue with the URL itself.
I think
We can check on
file
it.
name, our name. I
Yeah.
think file name should be I18N_FRI.
Okay. Let me check it once. Have you checked it, Sudeep, before?
Before I was practicing data migration
Where?
in the
In the.
document.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So you guys can see that the language changed. So this will get applied to the whole UI application if you just use this I18N properly. Now you can also get the save and submit like text from this I18, and it will be better if you use it from there. Like suppose in this save press now, I want to show a success message. Okay, save. So in that case, also you can get the data from that like file only. Suppose in I18N. So now just create this. The same message is present here. Okay, I want to use it. So what can I do? I can just press like right. So sorted one. Yeah, so you guys can see that we can get the text from this I18 file like this in the controller and use it to show like success messages or error messages, anything you want to show. So try to avoid hard coding data, like hard coding text in the like project or something. Okay, this is clear. This I18 files and all.
Can you repeat the URL,
Yeah.
part, like how to
Oh,
change the URL?
how to bind it? The bind it, I think it is simple. No? Just I18 file, like I18, and after that this greater than symbol and the variable name that is present there.
In the URL, what we need to change?
In the URL part, okay. So in the URL part, right now for testing, I have given it. I will share you the URL, like how it is. We can put it. Uh, you guys can try it, like when you do it. I will share it in the group. Okay. You guys just have to compare it and change the parameter. So this I18 part is clear.
Yes.
Okay, then let's move to the second thing. Sorry, the last topic for today, that is the formatters. Oh, let it be. Okay, so now what we are going to learn are formatters. Now, what are formatters? You know, they are like functions that are we used to like receive or manipulate data from in a view control. Okay, like what will happen? The formatter will receive value from this view control, like whatever binding we have done with this view. It will take the data and a function will run. Using that function, we can modify the data or apply some condition to it. Okay, like suppose in the backend, for some we are getting data, we are getting some status data. We're getting some status data, status. Okay. And the backend, the data type has been declared like this that for submitted, they are sending us S. Okay. For like updating, they are sending us U. For deleting, they are like sending us just D. Now, everything now, suppose there is a loop of data, okay, and you don't, every time you don't want to like go to the data and convert it because you might have to change it afterwards. So in that case of scenario, no, what we do, we apply formatters here. What formatter will do, it will take this data and we can apply some function or some condition to directly change it. Suppose the status I am given here D. Now, what is the process is that you can, that is a utility function, so it can be applied. You can define the function anywhere. You can define it in the model folder also, or in the web app, or anywhere. For now, I will just create a new folder. The name will be formatter. Okay. Now insert the formatter. There will be another function. I will name it as formatter dot js. So this is my formatter file. Now, what will be the structure of this file is or wait a minute, let me just copy it from somewhere. So this is the basic structure. Okay. Now inside this, we will write our functions, like whatever function we have to write. Like for now, what is the formatter that I want is this submit button here. The submit button here should be enabled only when there is data in this name. Okay. So what we can do, this is my enabled property. Okay. After this, uh, something path. Now this path will contain the what kind of the data that I want to send. Okay, to the formatter. So for now, I can just send this name. And this is the formatter whose the name is given the name format. So this is like with the basic syntax. Uh, say this once and tell me if there is anything confusing here. This is the enabled. Uh, like in the other cases, we directly bind it with the like a model path, but right now we are using this path variable first. Okay, and this is the formatter at like location that we are given. This is clear. The next step will be to import this particular formatter file in our view controller. Okay, so for that what we can do, we can use it like this. For like going to the folder level, so you have to just type double polish. Then after this, we can go to the something like this. So we have imported our formatter. Now the same thing we have to mention it here. And at last, we have to define this here. Awesome. I don't know. So, and after this, let's write our function. So, function name that we have given in format. That's name. And we want to check that when the value is present in the input field, then only the button should be get enabled. So you can just write it like this. Or now let's check whether it is working or not. It is getting called. It is getting called, but somehow why is not returning the top. It's not firing itself. Okay, guys, what is happening here now? That when I change this data in the model, this is not firing itself. Okay, so that might be the case. Okay, this might be. Yeah. So that was the issue. Actually, what was happening that because we have defined it as a one-way model, na, the data was not getting like back into the model. So the data was not changing, and that's why our formatter was also not firing. So that's why we are like seeing that. So you guys got an example now why we're using formatter, and we can directly link to that like a UI control with a function, and we can apply some conditional logics there. This is one of the case. Some other case is like this. Put that list in our view, right? This is this software. Another one of the scenarios where we use this formatter is suppose that it happens many times that the UI like the backend date or time format that is being sent, it is in a complex format or the format that may not be favorable for the user or it should not be or it is not in the human readable form. So in that case of scenarios, also we use formatter. Again, suppose there is some uh, amount it is showing in the UI, but we are not showing some currency symbol there. In the backend, they will not return currency symbol like rupees, dollars. It will not get written, right? So in those kinds of scenarios, also we use formatter to convert it into particular currency or like in the date format. So for one example of the date format, we can see. Suppose here I will add a date. Yeah, it's just giving me that. But I don't want it in this format. Suppose the backend is returning it to me like this, 2026, 01. The backend is returning me something like this. I want to convert into the more logical format of the one that is like used generally. So here also we can use a formatter and I will change it for like I can go in the property info I can use. Let's see whether it is showing or not. Okay, so it is showing here. Now let's change the format using of you change the format using a formatter. So what we can do, this name is given SAP. Okay, so date we are getting in this variable. Let's change. Yeah, something like this should be. Okay. This should be enough, I guess. Let's see. There is some problem there. You guys can see that the format has changed, right? So this is like one of the use of formatter, and you can provide many complex functions and so on. Like you can pass multiple parameter also. Like this is an example where say one parameter has been passed, but you can pass multiple parameters also. Like what will happen is this path, there will be multiple paths. Okay, so try that one. Like how we can pass multiple parameters or do some complex logic in format. Is this clear format and all? Do you guys understand the process, like how we can define it?
Yes.
Okay, I think it's fine for today. The rest of the topics will cover tomorrow.
One minute, I have one doubt.
Yes,
In the one-way binding, can we do some variables one-way binding and some variables two-way binding?
I don't think so. I think we can just make a model like one way or two way. If you want something like that, like some of your files should be, yeah, if you want something like that, if some of your variables should be one way binding, I think you can just declare it in a separate model.
Separate. Okay,
It will be better in that way.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you guys have any more like doubts regarding these topics that we have learned today or before? Yes. Stop the recording.